The exodus from Spencer's Cove in the mid-1960s possibly hurried the resettlement process in Placentia Bay. A business collapse, political pressure, and the search for new jobs began to make island life less secure. Spencer's Cove was first settled in the 1830s. In the mid-1920s, Alberto Wareham developed the merchant and fishing business already established by Walter Chambers. Spencer's Cove became one of the three main commercial areas in the bay.
Dad was just a little boy, not old enough to know the dangers of a sailor.
That's right at the bottom beach there. That's where we lived at. It was right at the bottom beach. There's houses here. We got George Stacy's house, Jack Brown's, our house, and right next to our house is the graveyard. And we lived right next to the graveyard there.
Dad was just a little boy, not old.
This is where my father was laid to rest in 1958. His name was William Best. Well, he was skipper on Wareham's boats, and they were in Little Harbour loading some lumber, I think. And when they were finished, he went into the little cabin to lie down before supper, and he fell asleep. And the next morning, when they went to get him for breakfast, they discovered that he was dead.
His wife is living still. He sung it as my tribute to a man I've never known, Grandfather Bill. Dad was just a little boy.
And that was the Wareham's house there, the theater. And those houses right here was Vic Holt, John Holt, Al Holt, the Berkshire's house. That was the welfare office right there. Oh, it was amazing, right? Because they were big, you know, like it took up a big area. Bigger than people almost predict today, right? Because it was big. When we left up there, well, up in those buildings we had, was 2 elevators up there. They used to take the freight from the retail store up to the store, right? And then Kevin had the Henry, and he had another elevator in that Henry, right? And we had a theater up there. We had just about anything we wanted up there. This picture I got right here is a picture of the Herbert L. Rodding that Wareham's in Spencer's Cove on. It was a big boat, big schooner, 4-master. My dad was on that boat. They used to take fish from Spencer's Cove and go on down the States, down that way, down West Indies, down that way somewhere with it all. And then she used to bring back salt. They lost her over out of Gibraltar over there with a load of salt on her. She ended her days over there.
Hey, this is Hester Burton. That's the wife of Alberto Wareham that started the business here in Spencer's Cove. And this one here is Shirley. That's the child of Wesley and Freeman Wareham. Freeman Wareham was the last one that ran the business here. Alberto Wareham was his father. So the Anglican church was in this area right here. Now it's all grown over now. The minister was in Harbour Buffett, and he used to come down here once a month and have church here. It was only it was a white church with coloured windows, coloured glass, and just a small church with, I think it was probably 5 pews on one side and 5 on the other, something like that. It was all wooden church, clapboard, white clapboard, painted white. But the thing I remember mostly is the coloured windows, the red and the blue and the yellow glass in the windows. And Dad used to ring the bell on Christmas morning when there was church. And you'd hear the bell all over the harbour. There, and like I said, about 50 metres that way was Wareham's business. But at that time there was no trees here, you could just look right out over it. And the Orange Lodge was just behind those trees here. And then the big hall that everybody went to at Christmas time was right along right here, that area. You know, what you can see here, part of the cement, this was what we call the big store. Anybody from Spencer's Cove would know what that means. And underneath that, there was a herring factory where Worm used to pack his herring and put them in barrels and ship them out. And up a bit farther there, that's where the stores were too, the shops. They had a salt shed there and coal sheds. And up above that, they had the salt fish, dry fish stores. So you used to pack their salt fish and send it out to Portuguese markets and other places. Gone back to nature. All rolled over, yes. Well, I think most everybody had a few potatoes sat, probably a bit of cabbage, but just for their own use. There wasn't a big lot. It was a big store, yes. Yeah. Yeah, just with everything that you need there. Right from salt beef and salt pork right to a 12-gauge shotgun. That's the idea. Just with everything you wanted there, right? Most any time. He had his ships come in from Nova Scotia and Boston, and they used to bring in supplies. Well, you can get butter, milk, and sugar there. And
the older you get, the more you realise that that was home. Hearing people older than myself talking about and that, right? You know, they've come to realise that what I think so much about it up there, right? Why I want to go back.
I've relatively recently gone back there in a very big way. You've set up a beautiful little area in the bay just opposite Spencer's Cove.
Yes.
It's called the Peaches.
Yes.
What is it that draws you all back like this?
I guess we'll always consider that as home. Right? We always says we're going back up home, right? Yeah. And the older you get, the more you realise that that was home. When myself and Jerry Best, we lived in Spencer's Cove, we used to get out of school Friday evenings and we'd go over to Western Cove when they'd be at the lobsters and that. And Jerry used to stay with grandfather and I used to stay with Uncle Archie Butcher in the cabin. We'd come back again Sunday, and before we come back Sunday we always had to go to Frank's house and have supper before we come back. And I remember so well, he always used to open up a tin of fruit and a tin of cream, and that was pretty good back then. Yeah.
This is one of the wells. They call them government wells. Two others just back behind there. They were done probably back in the 30s. They supplied water to Worms and to the business. Well, everybody had their own well. Everybody would dig a well on their property somewhere, and they usually have water enough to do them. Would be brought by buckets, or some people would have a brook run along by their house, and they'd use that as water supply.
Well, it was just nice. We all enjoyed it up there so much, playing around and that. And well, myself and Jerry used to jump from tree to tree. That was, to me now, that don't seem like but that was fun. So you get up and climb up in the tree so far as you could, and you jump, and you'd halfway down, catch the other one, up again. That's what we did for fun. So we didn't need much to entertain ourselves, right? Joe Butler, that fellow's name was, and this fellow's name here was Reg Boring. Reg was the coach, and always a lot of good memories there.
About a couple of 100 yards down from Worm's premises, right here, this is where the school was. There was a school here, and it was the United School, we called it, and then over here was Anglican. This is the remains of the Anglican part of the school. And that school was brought over from Haystack and built up over here after people left Haystack. And they were built right on the edge of the bank. This is the road here. The inside part of the school was here. When you were in school, looking out through the window, you could look right down in the water. And there was a house up here on the hill, and also there was a house just at the other end of the school there. Uncle Peter Butcher's house. The house right up on the hill there, when we lived here, there was no trees here. It was all open.
Exactly the same.
Back now they got computers and that, but up there we never had nothing. Only just what we made of everything ourselves.
In the home, in the family home, was there such a thing as a generator? Did you have a generator?
No. We had kerosene lamps. No. We didn't. No.
Did some people have generators?
Some people did, and some people was up close enough to Albert O'Ware, up to the store that they had main power up there, right? But eventually, if we had stayed much longer, that would have came right on down around, right? But it was common, but so it was brought in a way, but we had to leave Spencer's Cove. We never done the choice. Because what were people going to work at there? So if we had stayed, but I think it was good in one way, sad in the others.
Yeah, well, they repaired 3 schooners, I believe, here, and that's where they take them in the beach right there. They just haul them in on sticks and jack them up, and they'd repair them some right from the keel up. I can remember they did the Bertha Joyce. They repaired her there, and the Airy Keat, I think, was another one that was repaired there. But when the people left there was a schooner there all framed up, timbers and everything. She was left just like that when the people left. They never did finish her.